All righty, we're one step closer to the holidays. Very exciting. We're going to talk about the broad topic of gifting training for the holidays. And actually, it's also called Stump the Trainer. So I'm Heather Furby, Casa Luna Canines, right there with the finger. We shall touch. And welcome to Teaching Tuesdays with Casa Luna Canines. So these are a part of our community education seminar. So this is going to be Stump the Trainer. We have some questions that came in. I don't know, from Alan's brain, from AI, from people that watch and respond to our newsletter.
All over the world.
All over the world. So he's going to ask me some questions and we'll see what happens. This is all about gifting and dog training in some capacity. I don't know. What do we got?
Well, this is going to be fun. If your dog wrote you a holiday wish list, what do you think they'd put at the top? And would training even make the cut?
A holiday wish list. Luna, I think it'd just be full of smelly blankets that she is currently trying to get into. My dog wish list. Ooh, that's a good one. I think it would be
Cardboard boxes?
probably a lot of cardboard boxes. They don't even care about the things in the cardboard box.
Remote
Gosh.
controls?
It would be chewing remote controls. That would be good. I think it would be mostly doing stuff with me. Like if they could really write a wish list, it'd be like, let's spend an hour a day out on the obstacle course or learning something new, as opposed to taking me for granted and just knowing I'm a perfect dog and therefore I don't work with her enough. So I think it'd honestly be, so is training part of that? I know this sounds like I'm pushing my business, but yes, because if you do correct training, like it's not obedience, this is about training is forever. So training's always working with the dog. So I think every dog would say yes, training or classes or like the playground or park course, agility, scent training. I mean, there's so many opportunities what we can do with our dog. So I would think training or learning something new would always be the top of that list, just to keep them occupied. I can tell you what's not on that list, and especially Luna's list, is not, please get me a puppy to play with. Most dogs are not sitting around going, gosh, I really wish I had another dog in the house. Some dogs get along with other dogs, and I get it. You probably have a bunch of dogs at home, and they all get along. That's fine. Not saying they don't get along with other dogs, but probably not a dog sitting around pining away to be with other dogs. That is definitely a human thing. Unless, of course, you're gone most of the day and your dog does need a buddy. But one dog can get into a lot of mischief. Two dogs can get into double the mischief. Three dogs, it's like 10 times. It doesn't just increase per dog. Get pack mentality. One dog does something and all the dogs are in, and then you've got a situation in your hands. But I think training would be part of it.
Do you have a mischief per dog ratio chart?
Yes, it's kind of like the healthy poop chart. The amount of mischief your dog does is exponential to the amount you have faked throwing the ball for them at one point, or fed them too late, or fed them what they didn't want to eat that night. It's an exponential and it just skyrockets.
Okay, now be honest. If someone gifted you dog training for the holidays, would you take it as thoughtful or as an insult to your dog's manners? Not to you, but your dog's manners.
Well, it's so
But you're going to
hard.
play into it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, of course, yeah, that's tricky because I always say gift training, but as you read some of our articles too, we try to take the awkwardness out of it, but it can explode. It can backfire. So for me, if it was given to me a gift of training, yeah, I'd probably go, I'm a trainer, so that's weird. But at the same time, gifting training, I think if it comes from the right frame of mind, how do I want to say this? Like you're not the neighbor that is always telling your person across the street that they should get their dog trained or that their dog escapes or that, they're already not being a nuisance and they've refused doing the basics like management. Maybe they don't have a right fence or all that. So sometimes buying training can be seen as what? You think my dog has bad manners? I'm doing everything possible. But also you got to think about the right kind of training. So I have a hard time because so many of my clients say they're family, parents, or kids come over and are free with their opinions about training. And they all think you got to be doing a different kind of training because this isn't working fast enough. And they want the instantaneous alpha dominance over, like that's how you're going to train the dog to get immediate results. So immediately stop barking and immediately listen to us. So those are usually what I call the terrible training. And I don't want to give terrible training because that can be an insult. It can also cause harm to your dog. But honestly, what I find it an insult, I think it'd be, if coming from the right person, I think it's great because especially if it's somebody in your household or someone that also has to work with the dog, because it's great if you're talking about the long-term relationship with your dog, the love that they see that you have for your dog and that they want the best life possible. If it's one of those quick fix trainings that is like, hey, here's 6 weeks to obedience and then you never have to train again, probably not a great use of money, but it's at least gets you started. Now, if the trainer that you're working with, what you want to find is a trainer that fits your style. So if you're gifting training, that's always interesting because you've got to make sure it fits the other person's style. Meaning, for me, it's all got to be positive reinforcement. And positive reinforcement isn't just cookie, 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 cookie all the time for doing all those things. In fact, that's actually what positive reinforcement is not, because we end up reinforcing behaviors we don't want because we're trying to shove food in the dog's face when their brain is already flipped or, they're not listening. So then we're like, oh, here, have a cookie, have a cookie, have a cookie. So that's not what we talk about. We want to use food as reinforcement, meaning it's a reward for their good behavior. So there's a whole series I think we do on positive reinforcement, positive punishment, negative reinforcement, negative punishment, those quadrants in the behavior world. I'm not going to geek out about it now, but you want to find the right trainer because that is really what you want to look for is positive reinforcement. And then if you're going to a training class or you gift training where it's like, hey, we're just doing stuff with our dog. It's not about changing your dog, if that makes sense. This is something to do with your dog that will increase the bond, something always fun, something that you can learn with your dog. Then I think it isn't offensive. It's when you come in and it's training that's like, here, this is going to fix your dog that drives us all crazy, that I'd probably take offense to pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a video on our YouTube channel about principles of positive training.
Principles of positive training. Look it up, but that'll get you into what those quadrants are. And I even get confused by some of them sometimes. I know positive reinforcement. I mean, I know what they are, but when I speak about it, I think you'll even see in that video, I get myself like, wait, is that positive? Because what it is in the short, positive is adding something to the situation. Negative is removing something from the situation. Reinforcement is, we hope, to continue a behavior. Punishment is to stop a behavior. So I add something to the situation to reinforce a behavior, rewards, traits, play. That's adding something to reinforce a good behavior. Negative would be removing something to reinforce a good behavior. Negative punishment is removing something to stop the behavior. So like the dog's jumping on me and I turn. And then positive punishment is I'm adding something to punish. That's usually like a whack or a choke chain or a choke collar. The negative reinforcement and positive punishment are the ones that we tend to not use because they can have fallout real quick. So we will use positive reinforcement all the time. Negative punishment is like taking something away, like me, like your dog's jumping on me. So I remove myself in order to stop the jumping. So kind of use those quadrants. Anyway, it's in
Yeah.
the video.
But those terms are all about really using them in a defined way to their definition and not necessarily using them as a judgment about what's going on.
Right. Positive. Yeah. It's always from the perspective of a learner. So do I see this, I being the dog? Does dog see this as something that is going to reinforce the behavior or stop the behavior? You don't know until you try. So sometimes what we think, oh, I put that knee up and tried to get my dog to stop jumping, which I don't recommend, by the way, that would be positive punishment because knee went up to stop the dog from jumping. Dog says, well, that was fun. So we end up doing positive reinforcement because they like to jump and get that knee and they're getting interaction, they're getting playing. We don't know what goes through the mind of a dog. So it's always from the perspective of the learner. And yeah, it's not about positive good, negative bad, or reinforcement good, punishment bad. It's are we trying to stop a behavior or strengthen, weaken the behavior, and are we adding something or taking it away? So it's pretty strict behaviorism stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was the question?
Okay, that question was, be honest.
Oh, would I be offended on training?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see? I would turn it into something. If it was fun, like, oh my God, I'd love to get like dock diving lessons would be awesome. Or like our playground, super fun. Teaching, how we do doggy decorum and puppy power. Those would be fun because it's always something to do with your dog. So I don't think I'd be offended by those. But I think I'd be offended if it was like your dog is bad and we're trying to fix it.
So now that you brought it up, can you paint a picture for me what it would look like to have a pit bull doing dock diving? What does that look like?
That would be a disaster. I'm sure she could do it. You'd have to get, well, okay, I can't speak for all pit bulls. My pit bull, Luna, she would need about 3 life vests and like a big ring around her head because she doesn't like to get her ears wet. So she'd be in like a bubble suit, and that's what it would look like. And she'd probably get to the edge and then just sort of fall in and walk up and then fall. So that's pretty much what it would look like with her. With other dogs, it might look fancy and like they get this flying leap and they're beautiful and spread out, or they jumping up to grab the disc or something gorgeous. But Luna would probably be like a dog in a bubble suit falling off the edge of the pool. I think I have to get a video of that. Okay, I'll put up some videos of her swimming. It's pretty cute.
Okay, moving on. Do you think dogs see training as a bonding activity or just a weird game humans made up to get more snacks?
The humans get more snacks. That'd be a
Yeah,
good
I don't
game.
know how that
I don't
applies,
know how
but
that went. We might need to explain that one. Again, it the kind of training. So the kind of training I do is that we're always working with our dog. We're playing. We're having fun. So I think the dog would think that's fun if we're reading the dog. Like obviously, if I'm working with a dog and dog is totally shut down, they don't think it's fun. So then we got to do something else. So some dogs love exact and obedience. You can get them to curl around, sit right next to you, always be touching. You can do tuck sit and back, down tucks where their front legs aren't moving. And they find that kind of precision drill super fun. Other dogs are, going to find learning something new fun. So every time it's got to be, hey, I need to problem solve and learn what this game is. Other dogs are going to be like, you know what, I learned. Thank you. Now can I just go through the drill and then be done? Luna, I usually get about 5 minutes of work from her, and then she's snoring, or she gets so excited that she's starting to paw and be mouthy and doesn't. So I think if you're working with your dog, they should find it fun. It would be kind of silly. But that's why I think obedience training is kind of silly because it's boring. Sit down while I stare at you. I'm like, here's a piece of kibble. Here's a piece of kibble. And I can tell when people have basically reinforced that with their dog so much because we'll try to teach the dog to stand in front and the dog can't. It just sits because it's like that's what always has been done. You sit in front of me, stare at me, you get a treat. So in that realm, it's about silly things humans do to put food in my mouth. But I think when you're working together, it should be fun. And I would hope your dog sees it as fun. Otherwise, we're on the wrong track. But I'd love if you have a dog that does not see training as fun at all, any way, shape, or form, please let me know. Just respond to this, send me a text, email, find us on whatever we are, social media at Casa Luna Canines, because I want to know what's happening, like why your dog doesn't think it's fun, because maybe we can turn that around. Because I think every moment with your dog should be fun and wacky, including when Miss Luna is sticking her snout and going to eat light bulbs. Are you done? Did you forget how to just chill? Okay. All right. Do we have any questions?
we got one more.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. One more question.
Stump the trainer.
Stump the chump. If your dog could train you in one thing, what do you think they'd want to teach you?
My goodness. My dog, Luna, would teach me to sleep better. I swear she'd train me just to stay in bed and forget all these shenanigans. I really do have one of the laziest dogs on the planet. She's great, but she won't wake up till 10 o'clock. You wake her up before 10. It's just, she just looks at you like, human, are you doing? She's not one of those get up and go dogs. So I think she'd train me to sleep. I think she'd train me to get outside more too, because just for short spurts, she would have me say, let's go for a 2-minute walk as opposed to no walk and then try to make it an hour walk. I think she'd train me on timing better. And then she'd probably train me on the ridiculousness that goes into food. Just put it all in my bowl, leave it all out all the time, and I'll just eat. I think that's what she'd want. But she doesn't do that. And in fact, I don't think any dog should do that. Sidebar, but meaning free grazing. It's not a natural thing for a dog, but I think that Luna would just like the entire can of food and the little alligator whimsy treats she gets. She'd probably train me just to leave that bag open. She's got me really well trained on the cheese tacks. She knows the sound of string cheese. Did you know it makes a sound? I did not, but apparently pulling that cheese off, she's got me trained that she sits there and I have to pay the cheese tax. So that's given. She'd probably also train me to buy more blankies so she could have a blankie all over the house. She already has one in every room, but she needs like 8 in every room. And to rearrange the couch correctly without all those pillows on.
Yeah. The floor is lava.
The floor is lava. She does play floor is lava, so she would train. Yeah, we probably just have more couches and more cushions. That's what she'd do. But I always wonder that, like, what do you think if your dog could tell you something? What do you think the first thing is your dog would tell you? And what about if you could be a dog for a day? What's the first thing you'd do if you could be a dog for a day? I think I would go try to chase a deer just to see if it's possible, or chase a squirrel just to see, can I catch it? Are they really that fast? Could I get up a tree? I'd probably get to be that dog stuck up a tree. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think your dog would say, being that we share a dog?
I think she would want to go and run around for a little bit and then take a nap.
So would she train us?
Yep. Run around some more and take a
Yeah.
nap.
She would like to have the deck, like, have the deck have complete access to the yard, and then so she could
Oh,
go.
yeah, she would want her own deck, though.
She has to have her own deck and her own obstacle course that she can go chew. I don't think she'd actually run it. She
No.
would chew it.
No, no, no. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So all by way of saying, I know, goofy questions. You'd stump me on a few of them. Very creative. Keep them coming. Is gifting training. How do we gift training so it's not offensive to your partner, spouse, parent, child? And I really think if it's done in a way that says, I see how important this dog is to you. So I'm finding a trainer that I thought looked really interesting. Same way I talked about giving a puppy for Christmas or giving the gift of dog for Christmas. I really like giving the idea of a dog, the promise. Give the promise of a dog in case they don't want it. You can return all the items and we haven't gotten the dog out there. Give the idea of training. You can give a gift certificate to training area so that they don't have to use it right away. It's not like, okay, I got this to you on the holidays and you have to start in January, but find a trainer that you like working with. And I really emphasize any kind of gift of training instead of just doing the obedience training. If you can find something that's the one of the dog sports or dog interactions, which they've got a lot of big corporate stuff that's out there in lots of cities. So you can do those where it's like maybe you're doing agility or learning scent training or learning some tracking. Those kinds of things are always fun with dogs. So I think that's the kind of gift that would be great. When you start gifting obedience, that can get tricky because it's basically can kind of come across as like your dog isn't well behaved and it's obnoxious and, you know, go train your kid kind of thing. And people can get really offended because we know how close we all are to our dogs. And we know how annoying it is when someone comes and tells us, God, haven't you tried this kind of training? You got to do this kind of training. You should use a shock collar. You should use a prong collar. No, I'm part of the trade program where I will buy back your shock and prong collars because they're downright abusive. And I'm tired of having those conversations. But they're terrible things that we do to our dog and intimidating our dog and telling it to behave will never work. So give the gift of training of something to do. Start searching around. Find a reputable trainer. And by reputable, I mean somebody that has great references that you can check, that is certified or members of some of our governing organizations for dog trainers, for behaviorists, for agility. There's the Pet Professionals Guild. There's AKC. There's CCPDT. We love our initials and acronyms in dog training, but find somebody who's certified or supports that, who's been doing this thing of working with dogs for a while and who you like to be around. Because that's the most fun is you're going to spend a lot of time. If you find a dog sport, you're going to spend a lot of time with that trainer. So you got to like them. And they, you can't, you can't teach your dog if the trainer is teaching you in a way that you don't like, because in the end, it's always about you. It's dog training, human learning. I train humans, human trains their dog. Sure, I can work with the dog a little bit and I can read them and understand what's happening, but I'm always working with the human. So you want to find a human that you work with. And that's why gifting can be kind of hard because you want to make sure that it's not someone you get along with, but that your friend or relative would get along with. But if it's done with the gift of love, where you're saying, I see how important this relationship is to you, the dog. I just am hoping I'm giving you something fun. Please don't take this as anything else, but found this class. Here's a gift certificate. Let's see if we can get you going. And if you really are unsure, then yeah, give the idea of training where you pack some things in a little crate or, buy a scent training kit or buy I can't reach from here, but the little touch targets. And then, then your friend can say, oh, that actually looks really fun. That is something I'd like to do with my dog, as opposed to taking it as my dog is a hot mess and you think I'm a hot mess and I'm not doing this right and I failed again and I have to have a perfectly trained dog. So yeah, give the gift of the relationship. And I think you are on the right track. So until next time, remain calm, be confident, stay connected. I'm Heather Furby with Casa Luna Canines, and happy holidays.